So yeah, this is a track called Time Loop. Probably like got released Never Say Die Black label. Their second to last Black Friday release. Track breakdown. So originally when I wrote this song, but my at the time couldn't process it, bounce into. So what we can start with. Originally, yes, I use Reason. I also use Ableton, but back and forth. Kick, the basic kick. I honestly for the bypass all. So I just then I put some reverb. Yeah, dude. Honestly, let me talk closer to the. Okay, yeah. Hopefully, the mic is. Hold up, I got a phone call. Yo, is the mic cutting out?
It's the gate. There's a gate on your. Is there a gate on your mic?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's where ease up on the threshold a lot.
Okay.
All right, thanks, bud.
Bye. Does it sound better? Hopefully this sounds a little better. Okay, so for yeah, okay, so I cut out the low end, I compressed it, I added some reverb, and then when I EQ'd the reverb, I cut out all this, and then I add distortion, and then I just EQ it a little more, and then I add some transient shaper, and then it gives it this really strong just clap. And then I have some intro claps that are going with it. Just gives it like an extra groove. And then I have hi-hats. Not much done to the hi-hats either. I just put the hi-hats in. And then I have a second pair of hi-hats. It's just like a open hat. And then second thing, or what I added next is a ride that just goes on every kick and snare. Yes, when I start a tune, I basically start with drums. I do just a basic kick snare pattern with simple hi-hats, and then from there I'll either write a sound or I'll just go in from the intro. Doesn't matter which way you start. I usually start with the drop first, so that way I can get a feel for what the intro is, because if I do intro first, sometimes the intro doesn't match the drop, so I usually do drop first and then I do the intro to match it. Then after that, I just add like a crash. Then I have a reverse crash coming in. If you see that there's multiple crashes, it's because they sound a little different. Crash is more for at the drop. Techniques. For variations, I'll get into that. I'll get into that right now. So for variations, and like mostly what I do is I try to get a groove with my flow. So like it. So a lot of it comes down to like automating the sound, and a lot of layering. So what I do is, you tell there's a lot of layers. So I have sounds going together. By itself, it's one of the sounds is second layer. So I use a lot of layers. Well, not a lot, but for this song I use 2 layers. This is like more like a little high-endy sound. This one's more like low-end. Together they just complement each other. Is it the same patch? Let me check. It might actually be the same patch, to be honest. No, it is not the same patch. It's made the same, but instead of using a sweeper square, I use a sawtooth on this one. So here, and then for this sound, it's yes, it's a different LFO. This one's just straight like fourth notes, and this one's 1/8 notes. But I cut off the tail just a tad bit, so it's not like a complete like womp 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 womp.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Instead of womp womp womp. And then for, you asked, what are you using for sub? Like, yeah, it's just a regular sine wave. Regular a subtractor for this. Actually, the sub was, if you guys know who the Blood Thinners are, they actually gave me this sub because I was using Mousestorm to make subs, and Kevin from Blood Thinners helped me produce and read a lot, and he gave me this sub to use, and the sub is really good. And then I just use it on a straight sub note. It doesn't automate or nothing. So what I do is I go into the and I write in the sub note. They mostly. It's a little bit of both. So if I have a certain sound and I like that sound, but I'm like, oh, it needs a little bit of more low end, I'll either work on that sound and give it more low end, or I'll make a new sound for it. For instance, on these sounds that I make, I couldn't get low end on this sound, so I just made like not low end, but like mid sound for it. I made a whole separate sound for it. And then this is just a yoi. And then for the yoi, it actually switches through sounds. Like oh wait, I have to put. I'll show you this. Do you EQ your bass layers? Yes, I do, and I don't. Sometimes I like the distorted sound that it gives. I just make sure that I EQ. Okay, let me threshold. Alright, so yeah, so sometimes I do both. Sometimes I like the muddiness sound of both the sounds flashing. I just make sure I EQ the low, so it doesn't clash with the sub. Oh, so yeah, I'm gonna show you what I did. Wait. So if you notice, that I use it with Scream. So Scream is my favorite thing to use. Distortion unit. But if you see right here, parameter 2, I have it automating. So when it's on different keys, they sound different. So pretty much if I move this around, it gives it like a really good sound. find out where you actually want that sound to fit, and then it comes in. And then this is just a basic square 4 sound. But what I did for the sound is called Yakz. It's just a square 4, but it's mod A and B. So on this one, it's just regular, like just straight down curve. But I made it as a 1 shot, and then this one's typical. I don't really know the things for them, but I have it hit so it's not super long. Because if I have it long or like the whole 4th note, it sounds like that. But I have it cut. So it's more of like a little yap. Would I recommend producers to try different synths besides Serum to get... yes, I would. Serum has a very distinct sound. It's really hard to get rid of that sound if you're kind of first starting. So, I would recommend... Serum is amazing. I use Serum a lot too. But, I really love Mousestorm. Mousestorm and Subtractor are insanely really good to use sounds. Massive, I don't know how to use Massive. I think I made 1 song using Massive, but Massive for me is really hard to use. I originally started on Reason, so I'm very biased when people ask me like synths, but for me, I would definitely try to use other like stuff to make sounds. Operator's really good to make sounds in if you use Ableton. Old Baron and Trampa, yes. They I don't really know if Baron used Reason, but if he did, that's amazing. I know Trampa uses. Do I ever mess with Faceplant? I think I rented to own it on Splice and I could not understand it, so I unrented it. But I've seen a lot of people make really cool sounds with it. And then I have another layer with this sound. And this is the same layer for this sound. If you notice, it's just a tad bit different. It sounds different because it's layered with a different sound. But together with the drums, it's and this is an old sound right here. If you ever tips on so like how it sits in the rack. How do you get your feedback on my feedback? What do you mean by feedback? Like, and for the sub, do you mean how it sits in the track, or like mixing it in? Because if you're asking on the sub, I just make sure that my sub is not clashing with any other sounds or the drums. So I make sure that my sub is like sidechained with kick. So, and I have the kick snare. Oh, mixing it too hard or too low. So I just listen. Like if I can hear the sub like crackling or like making this weird sound, or like I can hear that it's butting through it, that means like for me personally, I would say that it's loud. So I just like mix it in so that it's at a perfect. Mine hits a little harsh, but that's because dubstep. Feedback with my okay. So for feedback. So pretty much It's all by ear. Most of the sounds I make are like literally happy accidents. I'll literally just sit here and just turn knobs until they sound cool. Most of the time, but for feedback and stuff. A lot of my sounds are also a lot with chords here. If I turn this off, can't really tell that much of a difference, but a lot of it's chord flanger. I do a lot of compression. The maximizers, like, makes it just fucking loud. It's fucking dope. A little bit of EQ, and then I EQ a lot of the high end out, like the echo reverb sound / feedback delay. Oh, okay, that. I keep these are all around the same for most of everything. It's decay. So if I turn the decay up, it just like a never-ending reverb. So I make sure it's cut, so it's by like a damp, and then the high EQ. I just keep that. I always keep that around here. And then the dry or wet, I always put it like I never want it to go past 20. A little too much. I keep it like around from down or around this range. If I go up, it sounds like crap. Basic pulverization is the distortion that I use. Then I put a lot of delay on it. Not too much delay. Because if I don't have delay, it doesn't give it that extra little tail. It's pretty dope. And then I put another I put echo. It's like pretty much another delay. But I have it on 1/8 notes. You can't really tell, but it does make a difference. Everything again, like this. So originally, this is like the stock one that comes with Reason. I bought this Synapse GQ7 graphic equalizer because it pops up and shows where I need to cut and stuff. It's pretty dope. And then this is just like all the high-end frequencies I needed to cut out, so it didn't crap. Do I have that delay on all my basses? Yes, I do. I put delay on every sound. Every sound. I love delay. Every sound has at least a tad bit of delay. Not the same style, but it's on every sound. And I make good basses on Serum. Yes. All my new music. Okay. I turn that gate off. Yes. The Reason VST rack is by far the best thing I've ever got to use. Now I get to use Ableton processing with Serum sounds, or with the Reason sounds. Which projects am I showing today? So this song that I'm working on right now is called Time Loop. It was released on Never Say Die Black Label's Black Friday like 2 years ago, and the song after this I'm going to do is my song called Fuck Off that was released on DPMO Circus. You hear messages going off as people still telling me happy birthday. Yo, how do you cut highs without the sound ending up super high passed or lo-fi sounding? Okay, so that's a pretty good question. So we'll start with sound that I was already doing it with. So if I turn these off, I'll bring in a new EQ. So what I do is I go on parameter 2 and I turn this up. Turn it up like that, so it's like a cone shape. And then I listen. I like go through the frequencies. And you'll hear these like really just high sounds that hurt your ear. So right there, I would bring it down. And then shape this. And then same thing for parameter 1. You can do the same thing. And then hear another like sound that you don't like. So that's what I do for when I try to EQ out high-end sounds. It's just sounds that will like hurt your ears. Sometimes when I do it, it does sound like how you're saying. It sounds like super high pass or lo-fi sounding. So I kind of like I try to do very little, but this one I did a lot because the sound without it is really hurts my ears. It's just there's just this random sounds that just like come in and out that I was like, oof, brutal, yeah. Then I just like boosted up the high and the mid just a tad bit. As you can see, like right here, this right here would clash with my sub and my kick, so I EQ'd that out. Now this is where my kick hits, and my sub goes right here too. So I don't want any of this. I don't want any of this in there at all. And then for my intros, what I do is I have another sub called my rap sub because it's all it is instead of it being a sub like just a regular sign, it's a sub. It's a sawtooth, like a saw square, and it just like it's almost like as if it's an atmosphere. And then I have another one because it's the same thing. I just didn't want to write it right there. What are some tips you wish you knew when you first started? Tips that I wish I knew when I first started is honestly, man, like and still till this day, I always try to like I don't know, it's kind of hard. I always like base my music and like listen to other people's song, and then like I'm always like, man, my music sucks, but don't do that. Like never do that. Like ever do that. Like there's always gonna be people that are better than you, but just don't ever do that. Cause I do that all the time, and I have like my friends like Heckler and Calcium always yell at me and stuff. They're like, dude, stop doing that. And never read your SoundCloud comments because they will piss you off. They piss me. And also just tips is for other tips is just like I guess just like learn EQing, learn how to mix down, and learn how to do your own masters. Because I feel like when you do your own masters, that's where your true sound comes out. Because if I were to pay somebody else to do my masters, I would end up sounding like them. Well, not mostly like them, but like just their mix down and mastering. And other good tips is just be yourself. Just let like your music talk for you. I have 3 subs, by the way. So one's sign, my main sub that hits on the drop, and these are just my intro subs. I wish I had the midis to show you what they were. Have you noticed that there's no sub right here? It's because I forgot that I have another sub right here. But this sub is just, I found this on a sample pack. I don't know which sample pack I found it on. It's just like a down sub that goes like, it's like more of like a bass drop. So I have it when it hits right here. And then everything like this main sound is just like an arpeggiated sound that goes. goes up notes and then down. And it's layered with switching back and forth from Ableton to Reason when you're not feeling a cool technique. Do you recommend that? And any okay, hold up. I got process. Okay, I'll get into that after I answer these other questions. What are most common mistakes when you get demos? Most common mistakes I get or I listen to is they just try to sound too loud, or they're trying to mimic other people's sounds, and it just doesn't sound like them. They're always trying to sound like somebody else, and just like EQing, or like they don't sidechain properly. And then switching back, for creatively, I switch back and forth from Ableton and Reason, is because I'll notice if I start writing in Ableton, some songs, or like most of the time, most of my songs will start sounding the same. So what I'll do is I'll just bounce out the project in Reason to find new ideas, add new sounds, and just get a different vibe for it, because there's a lot of stuff I can do in Reason that I can't do in Ableton, and vice versa. What is my melody writing process? Okay, I'll show you that right now. Find a random sound. So I'll just go into Reason, grab a lead, and we'll just not use that. That sounds terrible. Let's use classic saw. Actually, I think that's one of these sounds. No, it's not. Okay, so let's see. I'll like loop it right here, fast. This. So just say you want to write in D sharp. Pretty much what I try to do, I use all the black keys. And I just try to find like a really cool groove. Like I'll be listening, I'll do this for hours and just write random notes for like hours, trying to find a cool groove. Like I can grab this and bring it in, and it'll be like and that's everything on all these is the same notes. And I think I wrote this in F. Yes, it's F. So, okay, so this is a good question. When writing intros, how do you make... I try to fit the vibe with the drop. So the original drop is like... So I always try to base my intros to match with the drop. So another thing, what are tips for making your drop sound more full? For making your drop sound more full is layering and a lot of like maybe percussions. I use a ride. For to make my sound or to make my drops more full is I use recently what I've been doing is using a lot of effects and just having them underneath the sound or like every time like this note would hit, I'll put like an effect underneath it to give it like an extra boost of like so it's not just the sound. I didn't do it on this song, but that's what I've been doing recently. And for me, it is layering and just drum work. Notice like it's not just kick snare for me. So I have the double clap. Oh, it's triple clap. Pump pump pump. But I have it layered underneath there, like some triple claps. It's like doo, 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 doo. And then other things I do is like for the intro, like for right when it drops, it's like I have this little bleep into a reverse bleep. And then like I said, I use a lot of effects. So this effect is every time it's about to transition the next bar, or not like a next bar, but like the next. It's pretty much saying like, oh, there's a new part coming up. So when it switches again right here, it brings in a new sound. So mostly to make everything sound more full is layering. Use some effects. Just have fun with it and just play around until you can listen, find out, and see if it's. Sometimes you might use a little too much effects and it'll sound a little weird. But then just another good thing is simpler the better. Hold up, I'm gonna turn my light on. Thoughts on that? Yes, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't really mess with a lot of that stuff. I mostly just I don't really mess with mono and stereo most of the time, as you could tell. I used to do that, and I couldn't like do it right, and everything came out either it was too stereo or too mono. So I was just like, yeah, I give up trying, which I should probably work on doing that better. But other than that, I am trying to learn, and I'm still doing a little bit and trying. But I try to make certain sounds less stereo and more mono, depending on what vibe I'm going for. Also, because most of the music I've been trying to make is more like stompy, headbanging music. Gummies. How long are your drops usually? How many bars? I think like 16 bars. No, 32 bars. Yeah, 32 bars. Yeah, 32 bars. 32 bar drop with a 32 bar, and then another 32 bar intro into another 32 bar. And then you can do like 16 bar intros with 32 bar drops, or 16 bar intros with like quick 16 bar drop into a quick like 8 bar build into a little drop. Depends. As long as like you stay on like the little time frame, like drops at 55 seconds. Well, supposed to be 55 seconds, but I'm at 150. So I always make it sure it's on the 33rd bar or 32 bar intro. And if I was writing like a straight get to the point song, there's there's like two ways I make music. It's either I'm really anxious and I just want to just focus on the drop, so I just do very minimal intro, probably like just it would just be this with drums, and then I have a build up right here, and then it goes straight into the drop. But for this one, I took my time, wrote a melody, wrote a little breakdown, and for the breakdown, a lot of people do different things. I mostly just use claps, so it's just like I let the melody do the talking for me, and then it goes into the build. And what I do is I have this, I don't know where I got this sample from. It's just someone saying drop. I didn't do any effects to it. So I have it coming in as soon as the build-up starts coming in. I turned up on that. Have days where you just sound design. How does it take? Yes, I do have days where I focus mainly only on sound design, and most of the time it doesn't turn out the way I want to, because I just won't be in the mood to make music. But I will be. I have to sit, try to make a sound or do something. And how long does it take till I'm satisfied? It takes a long time throughout, even like while I'm working on a song, and like I think the sound is where I want it to be. I'll just start twisting and like messing with the little things or adding new effects to it to try to make it sound better. So it varies, you know. I could make a sound in like 10 minutes and be like super satisfied, or I could spend a week on a sound and just like end up giving up or doing something with it. Or like most of the sounds I make, I like reuse, and you'll notice if you listen to my music, you'll hear the same sound because I love these sounds. Like this song, this original song, this sound right here, the dub versus dub sound. I actually made this when I entered a dub versus dub. I lost second round, or actually the first time I lost first round to Acting Damage, who obliterated me, and the second time I entered, I lost to Era, which is one of my good friends at the time. We're still friends, but we haven't talked in a really long time, and I actually use this sound. But if you know my music, you know who Chibs is. We made a song called Trippin', and this is the main bass in it. Yes, that is my favorite sound I've made. Not my favorite sound, but it's a really dope sound I made. How do you feel your pre-drop? What effects? Oh. So, for this effect, this is a Lex Luger's sample. It's just like a little, it's like a little riser. And then what I do is I add like a little crash with it. This and another riser crash, but it's a cymbal. That's what I do. And then I just have these intro claps after the last kick hits into a snare. It gives it that like little. And you'll notice a difference from this sound, how it comes in like womp 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 womp, and then on this one it's but it sounds different when it's actually being played out because it's a layered sound that's giving it that extra like oomph. Because by itself, it wouldn't sound as cool. So that extra layer helps a lot. And if you notice, this actual sound too is also from the sound is also in a song that I wrote recently with my friend Algo called Designated Dub. It's the same sound that's just layered underneath, just going with the synths. Can you touch on how to find a balance between? Okay, what do you mean by that? Like call and response if you want. Like what do you mean by call and response? Like for the Yoi on this second part, so like sounds playing off each other. Oh yeah. So the call and response is like I kind of explained it a little bit how this sound is more high end. Oh no, it's on this. This sound is more high endy. It's just focusing up here, and then where this sound is focusing more down here. So together, the call and response on it, they're bouncing off each other. They're giving it like it sounds more as one sound than it is I am using. That's where layering comes in handy. So certain sounds feed off each other. That's like more of like a call and response. So people will be okay, yeah. I try to when I do layering, I try to be very, very cautious and not overlayer or not too little, so I don't like end up ruining the sound that I want. Because if I started adding like all these sounds with it, it probably won't sound that good. Like I mean, it still kind of sounds cool, but it's not the vibe I want. Like that's just like a perfect, to me that's perfect. If I were to add this sound, I would put it on every off hit, not off hit, but like every, like it'd be like boom, and then this sound. So that's another good thing to know is like you don't want too much, you want very little. So that would have been something cool I could have done in the song, but I didn't. Yeah, BPM is 150. I usually write 150, 145, 140. How many years varies for what BPMs I work with. How many years have you been producing? How many years have I been producing? I have been 2009. Oh yeah. Sorry, I'll read the question out loud. He asked how long have I been producing for? I've been producing since 2009. I'm old, as you can tell. I've actively pursuing. I have had my heart set on being a producer ever since I started. I've never actually had a real job. I think I have. I had one real job. It was with my friend back in the day. I worked with him and his dad at this place called JDH. All we did was I didn't do shit. Honestly, I literally just fucked around all day. It was awesome. It was dope. And then I was sleeping on his couch and just trying to make music. I would show him my music and he always told me the same thing. Bro, my grandma can make this music. And that always made me want to like make better music so I could put it in his face. Like, huh. How do you like to get variations from your bass? How do like what do you mean by that? Like how do you how do okay I for that I mess with a lot of different things. I'll literally sit there and have just like I'll have this flow over here, and then I'll just keep changing it, and then I'll like it, and then I'll put it off to the side. So what I'll do is like I'll literally go in here, and then that's a sub. So let's grab this sound. So I have it so it's on one shot. So I'll go in, grab the sound, and so I can like this one we could go so it's take this layer out real fast. So I mess with a bunch of random little things. I'll just change stuff here and there to see what I like, and then I'll be like, okay, so like for me, when I make music, I like to focus on a lot of flow. Like that's one thing I focus on is my flow, and like how can I make it so it's not super repetitive. So a lot of variation, not too much variation, so it doesn't sound too like over like dramatic. So you want them to flow together. So like as you could tell, like when this synth is done, like when these ones are done, like this section is done, it's like bump 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 bump, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna variate it just a tad bit so it's not the same. So what I did was I just made these hit twice. And that's what I focus on is, so if I had it the same again, it would just not, it would sound cool, but it's like kind of, they already heard that. So I want to switch it up to keep the listener to keep listening, and like then they wonder like, oh, I wonder what's coming next. So then what I was like, okay, I'm gonna switch it up again, and instead of using that sound, I'm just gonna use a yoy. But what I did is I always keep the first hit, this hit right here, I keep it there, so they're like, oh, it's gonna be the same hit. Nope. And again, what I did is I variated the sound here with the scream, so it's a different sounding yoy every other one. It goes like low, high, low, high. And then for this one, I auto filtered it up, so it no sound. As an upcoming producer who has hit their 1 year mark recently, better to start forming a SoundCloud and uploading full tracks, whips, etc. compared to, or waiting longer until your stuff is significantly better. Do you think it's possible negative to upload? Okay, that's a good question. When I started, I focused on every 2 weeks I was gonna upload a whip of something I was working on to get my name out there better. A little different nowadays. When I was uploading music, it was like 2009, 2010, like 2011, 12, you know. Spotify wasn't a big thing back then. So for me, I focused on uploading every 2 weeks, and to like, so people kept seeing my SoundCloud. I posted, and I've joined probably every dubstep group you can think of on Facebook, and I was just in there like commenting on other people's music, like, hey dude, this sounds cool, like, or asking for feedback, or like, not like asking them for feedback, but like being like, hey, this is dope, like blah blah, and then post my music in there, hoping that I would get some feedback from them. Right now it's a whole different thing. I would still upload tracks and and go into those like dubstep like groups and like post your music, you know, you might not get that many views or stuff, but people will start seeing your music more and more, and then they'll be like, hey, I've seen this guy's music, I like that last song, let me listen to it again, like a new song. So that will help. And focus on Spotify. Once you get like your song done fully, you know, you can focus on getting Spotify, releasing it on Spotify so that people can listen to it on their phone, or like, but not just SoundCloud. But yeah, that's what I would do. I focused on a lot of whips when I first started. It wasn't whips, it was more like the track's done, but I'm gonna tease them with the track. So that's what I did. Okay, this one, he asked, when you're doing your layers, are you making the sound to target a certain part of the frequency spectrum, or isn't it being touched by other parts of sound? Yes, I do that. So like I said, that this original sound is based only for the high end sound, and this is based on the mid low end range. So when they hit, this one has no highs. It kind of has a little bit of highs, but this is complementing it, and that's the call and response that we were talking about. You ever feel like quitting all through those years? How did you overcome that? Oh man, dude, I had like a breakdown probably like a couple days ago where I was like, man, I'm gonna quit. Like, I feel like no one likes my music, and I had like I said, Calcium and Heckler. They're like literally Calcium, Heckler, Sudden Death. All of them are literally like, I will consider them my brothers. Like, they always tell me like, yo, shut up, like, your fucking music's dope, like, you gotta, I don't know, I get it in my head. My problem is I read SoundCloud comments and like, or I just get mad, like, out of like maybe the 100 dope comments, I'll see this one comment that will be like, you suck, and that'll get to me. I don't know why, but it's just because like I put my everything into all my music, and I'm like super proud of it, and then like I get that one comment and it just like crushes me. So how do I overcome that? Dude, man, just have awesome friends, and just have like a supportive girlfriend or boyfriend if you have that, or either or. And just I don't know, man, it's hard to overcome. It's really hard. You just gotta have a good support group there to like talk you down. Dope, man. I'm 32, still pushing, dude. Yeah, keep pushing, brother. You got this. Haha, yes, Odd Profit, where you at? I don't get that joke. Makes sense why I first tried producing. PC sucked ass, so I quit. I remember trying to make a wall based in reason why. Dude, I think YouTube was the best teacher I ever had. I literally would go on YouTube and learn how to like make sounds, and every time I would go to research and like try to find a YouTube tutorial, it was how to make a Skrillex growl. I would literally try to copy what they did. My voice just cracked, by the way. I would literally try to copy, and it would never sound the same. And I was like, yo, fuck this. I'm going to just keep trying. So what I did was I took some of the techniques that they taught me in that little YouTube video, and I was like, I'm going to try to make my own sound using some random things. And I started making kind of cool sounds. And then later on through the years, I just like gradually just kept going back to those certain techniques that I remembered. When having a lot of layers with reverb and delay, what are the main thoughts that make it? How do you know? I'll always cut out the low end, because I don't want nothing to mud up with my I want nothing. Where is it? This one. Okay, so I want nothing right here. That way it doesn't mud up. And then I boost the highs just a little bit and the mid end. Without it. It's you play everything by ear. You listen, and then if you're like, oh, I don't like this, like there's something wrong with it, to go in and kind of tweak knobs, like, you know, try to EQ here, stuff here and there, and then you'll start hearing it, the synth sound a little better, and then you keep playing it, and then it's all like, you know, just just keep working on the same sound. I'll do it for hours, just trying to EQ one sound, and then I'll end up like, all right, I'm just gonna focus on something else, and then come back to it. So just focus on it for a little bit, but don't focus too much on it, because then you're like fry your brain out, and then you'll be like, I'm over this song, and then you'll like start working on something else. But just do it gradually throughout the song. How many projects would you usually work? Dude, I think I have like fucking 10 like songs I'm working on at the moment. Heckler did it. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Heckler is one of my favorite people in this world right now. I play video games with him all night long, and we just show each other music, and him, Calcium, and Sudden Death, they inspire me so much to be a better producer and like just better person. Any new releasing soon? Yeah, I got some new songs coming out. Don't worry. Expect on that media. Crazy to someone. Dude, yeah. I mean, you know, it happens. It happens. Rule 1 of dubstep, good homies. Yeah. The biggest rule is surround yourself around people who will push you. Not like push you like physically, like push you to be better, and like friendly competition is dope to have. Like, you know, like I hear a song and I'm like, I gotta like try to one up this, you know, or try to like do something cool, and then they hear my song and they're like, oh man, like I gotta step it up, you know. It's just fun to have like friendly competition within the group. Free dubstep wall. Dude, yeah. Let's see what else we got. I got Ableton users, best way / plugins. Drum bus and transient shapers, man. Drum bus is an amazing thing to have in Ableton. I wish I had it in Reason, but I don't. So what I focus on is I just put a transient shaper in my kicks. It up a little. Let's see, what else can we show in this? Oh yeah, I will show the second drop now. So the second drop, I changed not that much, but enough. So remember how I was showing you in the originally when I brought the Yoy over and I placed it on the second hit? I did that in the second drop, but without the Yoy. Instead, I used the Womp, and I have the original hit coming in. Same thing. Instead of it being a single hit, it's a double hit. How do I mix my tracks? Everything's by ear. I mix everything by ear. I listen if like for instance, this sounds a little too loud right now. So I listen, I go back, and I want it to sit perfect, so it's not too loud. Perfect, you know. So everything I play by ear. I want my kick and snare. I want my kick and snare to be up front and center. Not like up front and center, but I want that so you hear the drums. Because I feel like if you have really bad drums, but you have amazing sounds, the song's not going to be that dope because the drums aren't hitting hard. I want like when my songs to hit, I want that kick to like you to feel it in your chest, and I want my snare to feel like you're getting slapped. I want my hats to sit perfect, and then I want my sounds to just work around everything. Like I want my sounds to like complement everything, you know? That's what I focus on when it comes to mix downs. I want like my kick to push, my snare to slap, I want my everything to sit right, and then for the sounds, what I've been doing recently in Reason is I combined all the sounds into one group, and then I mixed everything down like that. I didn't do that in this because, like I said, I wrote this song a really long time ago. Not that long ago. It got released in 2017, 18, I think. Again, like I said, I switched these variations up, and then I go into the Yoy section. And all I did is make it, instead of 1/4 notes, is 1/8. That is all I did. But again, the layer comes in handy because it makes it sound totally different. It's crazy how much a layer will help. So layering is by far one thing everyone should focus on, and depending on what you're making, I guess. But for dubstep, layering is key, in my opinion. How are you treating your drums? How am I? Okay, so, well, like I said, I didn't do nothing to the kick. Kick is very just basic kick. I think it's just a basic dump for the snare. This snare is a Lex Luger clap that I just. This is the original sound of the snare. So what I did is turn all this off real fast so I can. So I'm gonna loop it real fast. So kind of annoying. So you don't want none of that. So what I did is I turned this on. Can't really tell. It doesn't do really much. Cut the low end. Compress it a little. So what I do is I compress it. You see this little 0 and then this the 0 and the 4. I want to make sure that it sits in between this. It's hitting right here, so it's perfect for me. So what I'll do after that is I put on a reverb. See how it gives it that extra little tail? It's like without it. It still has it, but this gives it a little different tone. I EQ this part of the reverb out, so it's only the tail. And then I add distortion. And it gives it that just like. I put EQ on it, cut out all that low end. And then I put some transient shaper. It's boosting the attack and the sustain, and I put the speed all the way up, the clip up. And then what I do is I layer it with a kick, so it's a kick clap. So it gives it that thump. So together, it's like. What numbers do you want to see? I want to see me. I want to see it right here. If I bypass my master, it is dog. It is dog. So my master is stereo imaging. It's mono and then a little bit of wide, and then I turn it on and then off so you get the difference. Compress it. And then this is my maximizer. I soft clip it. So if I take the soft clip off, too loud. How do you keep the kick and snare from clipping super hard when layering? Okay, so that's good. So if I have my kick high, you can hear it. The snare goes away. Like you hear a little bit of the snare, but it's gone. So I'll go be like, okay, I'll listen and be like, still too loud. Still too loud. Still a little bit. Right there. Like, you want the snare to push through. But if I have the snare too loud, the kick kind of goes away. So you want it. You want to have a little bit of the best of both worlds for that. And I always layer ride underneath a hat. Because that like ride, it's like anyone know a good place or video or place to learn how to drum bus for slapping drums? For the drum bus, are you using Ableton? If you're using Ableton, that is all could be played by ear and just listening and being like, okay, this sounds cool, or this doesn't sound good, or it's too harsh, or it's too crunchy. Okay, before I switch to the next song, is there anything else you want to know about this song? For the outro, actually, all I did was bring in the synth again, so it goes. Actually, this sound is from Splice. All I did was stretch it a little and EQ'd it, compressed it again, and then it was without it, it goes. Without the reverb. To me, it just sounded dope, so I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna use that. Alright, so that's my song, Time Loop. And everyone keeps thinking that next song I'm about to show them is Time Loop VIP. So, it's not. But I did write them around the same time. Time Loop is old. Fuck Off is super old. I wrote them around the same time, and it honestly just got released. Shout out DPMO Funkcase for releasing it. So the next song is Fuck Off. Alright, give me a second. This is my song, Fuck Off. Hold up. Very good breakdown. Tell me about Fuck Off. How what is schedule like? Strictly planning your time. Okay, so Fuck Off. Fuck Off I wrote a really long time ago. I originally wrote it for Savage Selects 2, got denied. Sent it to NSD, got denied. So I was like, damn, this song sucks. So I kind of just gave up with it. And then one day, James Funkcase hit me up and was like, hey man, send me some music. I would love to have you on DPMO. I sent him, I think like 10 songs, and he heard Fuck Off and he's like, dude, this is the one. I love this song. And this is around DPMO Volume 2. He signed it immediately, and DPMO 3 came out. Didn't get released on it, and then he was like, it's gonna be on Volume 4, I promise. And I was like, okay, cool. So I had to wait not 1 year, I had to wait 2 years for Fuck Off to finally get released. But it was worth the wait, and it actually ended up benefiting the song better than anything, because it was one of my most anticipated songs. That and the Mastodon collab, or Murata. What is your schedule like? Are you strict with planning your time slash what you'll work on, or do you feel like you focus on what you feel like? I focus on what I feel like. There'll be a week I won't work on music. I'll just focus on just playing video games, doing nothing, or watching anime, yeah, literally doing nothing. So it gets to the point where I'm like, damn, I really need to work on music, and then I'll sit down for 30 minutes to an hour or longer or the whole day and just work on music until my brain hurts, and then I'm like, okay, I need to do something else to make me get inspired again. So then I'll go into a Discord, talk to people, and then they'll show me their music, and I'll be like, yo, I'm super inspired now, and then I'll go and write music. Yeah, exactly. The right people will like your music. Even if one person likes your music, you did your job. Like, as long as you love your music, that's all that matters. All right, so this is my song called "Fuck Off." So this is the first project file. So if you, as you hear, there's no second drop. Same, it's the same. I actually wrote the second drop on a different computer, probably 4 months before it got released, and I sent it to James, and I was like, oh shit, I realized that it doesn't have a second drop, and people are gonna flame me for it, so I wrote a second drop. I'm so glad you chose this. Probably yes, I figured this would be a really good song to track breakdown, since it's the newest song of my releasings, and it's quite possibly one of my favorite songs I ever wrote. So originally, this was the original drop. This was the original drop. And then it switched into this. And after a bunch of people telling me you should switch the A section with the B section, you have the B section hit first, which is sounds, into the melody part. When labels won't release your tracks, do you ever consider releasing? Yes, that is my new thing. I mean, a lot of labels don't release my music. They always tell me, oh, your music's not good enough, or it's not what we're looking for. And my heart gets crushed, and then I'm like, man, fuck y'all. I'll release myself. So I focus on just self-releasing, because that way my dreams don't get crushed. People telling me my music's not good enough for their label. But don't be discouraged. Take it as a blessing, because they're trying to get you to make something different and push yourself. So just keep doing you, and just keep trying. And DPMO is always open, because they love to release up-and-comers and music that, even if it isn't their style and it sounds good and amazing, they will release it. What's like a target you use tracks as loud as you want to? adjust your sounds to make them louder? Do you push it through? I push it through the master. It's all through my maximizer. So this maximizer is pretty much like a saturator. That's pretty much what it is. If you use Ableton, it's pretty much like saturating it. How often do you send guys? How often sending guys like Heckler, Calcium Center, all the time. I literally just hop into a Discord with them all. Not all of them, but like me and Calcium Discord every day, and we just show each other music and just. Yeah, that's all. That's literally all we do. And you asked a question earlier. You said any advice on collaborating? For collaborating, for me, I'm very picky on who I collab with because I don't trust people to not steal my sounds because that's happened to me a lot in the past. For me, collabing with people is I have to have a friendship with them. I have to know them. I have to trust them, and they have to just be dope. Not like musically wise, they just have to be a dope human being. Like if I don't fuck with your vibe, or not like vibe, but if I don't like fuck with you as a person, like I'm not collabing with you. Like no offense. But other than that, if you're like a good friend of mine, or you're like you're just a super dope human being, I'm down to work with you. So let's get into the track breakdown. We'll start with pretty much how I did the kick. This time, I'm pretty sure this time I actually did some work to the kick. Nothing. I don't know why I put that there. So this time I compressed it a little bit. More of like a thump instead of a doof. And then I put some transient shaper on it. Can't really tell the difference, but it works. It works. Don't worry. And for my snare clap, it's the same that I did with the song Time Loop. Same thing. Instead, this time I boosted the mid and the highs on it. If you notice, the reverb cuts. The same processing without it. Sounds doo-doo. Like a little bump, but with my little things that I add. Pretty much EQ the low again, compress it. Like I said, it's only hitting between these two. Actually supposed to be right here. EQ'd again the same way. This time I didn't put EQ enable and gate. This is distortion. It's called scream. It's pretty much like using OTT, but a little bit more buttons. I don't really mess with the body. And then I EQ'd it because if I take this off, see, it doesn't hit as hard. Now it's like, you won't really hear what much that the transient shaper is doing, but it is giving it that extra little flap. And then so pretty much another thing I do is I added a reverse snare. So what I did was all I did was grab this, drop it down here, make its new lane, and reversed it. So it's giving it that extra nope. So I put it on every other one, so it hits here off the kick, not right here. So that's also another thing that's cool. It gives it that extra little groove with it. It's like, and then just hi-hat. So for this time, I'm pretty sure I added some stuff to the hi-hat. Yes, I did. I EQ'd the low end out again. Let me actually loop this so it doesn't That's it without it. It's just a little. So EQ the low end out, compress it. Same thing I do on the snares. So it only hitting between 0 and -4. Add some reverb. EQ this out again. Pretty much like the low end, you know, so it's only hitting on the the end part. And then I add some delay. So it's giving it that signature rhythm vibe. And then I add a ride. Every kick and snare. I'm pretty sure there's nothing on the ride. Oh, nope. I EQ'd it. I just wanted to make sure it's only hitting this part. That's all. Nothing special. And then I don't recall where I found these perk samples from. So the perk sample is just so it is a sample. I found it on Splice. But altogether it went good with the track, so I was like, I'm just gonna put it in. So it comes in handy, and then I have this Vox. It's a vocal. It's a breath. Can't recall where I found the sample from either, but it is a sample that I'm pretty sure I found on Splice. Oh, this Vox. Sorry, I don't know why that popped up. And then I added this another effect. It is it's like a pass by. It's a Splice sample pack. It's like a effects only, like alien thing, like a UFO going by. So all together, it's like. And then I found another breath, and it's just some girl going. And then this planetary explosion is more of an impact.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
So I put an impact on every section, so every 8 bars. Then I have a downfall, so it's just like a white noise down on every time. You know, it just sounds cool. Gives it that it like fills up and everything. I put no effects on any of the effects. I put no effects on the effects that I use. It's kind of a weird thing. Anyways, I've added a chant. Okay, now we'll get into all the. So again, I use the rap sub, the subs saw. mostly in all my songs. And it is, I'm pretty sure I wrote the song in F too. Yep, F again. And what I did at this time is I layered it with atmosphere. And underneath that is like a little notice they're off key, and I wanted it to be like I wanted to give it like a horror vibe. And I added the impact lead. The bell. The last one is, I'll go through them. This is so all together. And with all the drums and everything. So, I do not know where I found this vocal sample. That I am. But all I added to it, EQ'd out, some compression, reverb, and delay. So if I don't have the delay on it, it doesn't do the reverb or that's all it would say. And I was like, I need it to be delayed so people know that I want them to, fuck off. So what I did after that is, this is where it's a breakdown. It's kind of like, it's a break that leads up into the build. Everything is the same from the intro, except all I added was this. It's like an arpeggiated. And it is all the same notes. It's F, all F. So it goes from F to G to A, then back down to G. Oh, it's G, like G, G minor, and then it goes to C, then A, or not minor, G sharp, and then it's C to C sharp, down to A sharp, and then ends at F3. And it's the same notes for all these, F, A sharp, 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 F. So all these together, they're all the same notes. Also, my music theory is really bad because Somnium Sound and Sudden Death sat me down and taught me music theory in a span of 2 hours, and thanks to them, I kind of know music theory. I have a sub layered underneath it, same as all these. And then when it gets into the build-up, what do you low cut your EQ with? And since, for example, at 200 hertz, I've noticed. Believe on. Yeah. It also varies. Some of these, for synths. Okay, let's check. No, it's 200. On the last one, it might be 100, but that's also because I wrote that song so long ago that I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, how did you meet all those guys you collab with, like at shows or just it's that's a good question. I met Sudden Death because I went to one of his shows in the Bay Area, so San Francisco. Pretty sure it was in Oakland. I don't know who he was. I just remember went to the show to meet up with this guy named Griefer, who's a good friend of mine. And I remember this goofy, just weak little dude walked in, and it was Sudden Death. And I remember looking at Griefer, and I was like, hey, who the fuck is this dweeb right here? He's like, yeah, that's Sudden Death. And he played his set, and I was like, holy shit, this dude's music is insane. And I became friends with him. And we were just like talking on Facebook like a lot, and then he was like, "Hey man, I'm moving to Hollywood." And I was like, "Dude, let's hang out, man. I want to hang out with you." So my first actual good hangout with him was my sister rented me a car to go drive up to Santa Cruz to play a show. Not as Yakz. I'm not gonna tell you what the name was because me and Sudden Death ended up playing as a secret duo that I made. And I pick him up and I was like, dude, I'm playing a show in Santa Cruz, you want to come with? And he's like, dude, I'm down. So we go up there, we play the show. Show is lit, and it was super fun. And then ever since then, Danny's just been one of my best friends. I love that dude. I will back him up for the rest of my life. As for Calcium and Heckler and everybody, that's all just through music, man. Everybody I meet is through music. I actually met Heckler. The first time I met Heckler was at the Vigor Fresh Blood release, Volume 2, I believe, and we all did a talk show with Borgor, and I remember hearing Heckler's voice for the first time, and I was like, yo, this dude has the sexiest voice alive. And ever since then, we've been friends, and we just, like I said, me and him play video games all day. Same with Calcium. I talk to Danny a lot here and there. He's very super busy, and so I try not to bug him that much, but we talk when we can, and it doesn't matter. I could go probably a year without seeing him, and if we met up, it'd be like nothing ever changed. And as for Calcium, he is the biggest bitch in the dubstep scene. Don't let him tell you that I am, because it's obviously him. So me and him have this thing where we just call each other a bitch. Like that's just what we do. My whole conversation through my text message with him is just yo, what up, bitch? And we try to just get the last bitch in, and I'm pretty sure I won, but he says otherwise, but I won. As for everyone else, I met Somnium Sound through Sudden Death. I remember going to his house back when they lived in Hollywood. Oh, they still live out here, but when he lived in Hollywood, I went to his house and he did not make dubstep at the time, or he did make dubstep, but a multi-genre artist. He's probably one of the most like just probably in my opinion he's super good. He should be bigger than he is. Yes, me and Calcium are super toxic to each other, but I love him. He knows I love him. I got his back no matter what. So no one mess with Calcium, or you have to deal with me. Any of my friends. So yeah, Somnium Sound. I met him, and he was working on music, and he showed me his music, and I was like, dude, you are so good. And I ended up living with him for like 6 months. I loved it. I miss him every day. Lived with another producer. His name was Drax. He makes Sex Dungeon music. It's not Sex Dungeon. I think it's. I want to say it's freaking. I don't know what he makes. He makes music that sounds like people have sex in dungeons too. But it's really amazing. You should look him up. DRAKK. Amazing producer. And I live with my homie Ozzy. He's the playboy from the Yay Boy. He is good peoples. All of them are good peoples. And everybody else is just through dubstep. You know, just at shows. That's another cool thing, you know, like to get yourself out there is go to every random not every random show, but go to like all these little dubstep events around your town. Well, obviously we can't go to them now, but when shows start picking up again, just make an appearance at shows, like say what's up to the artist, like don't like bug them, but like just be like, hey, what's up, man, love your music. And they'll be like, hey, cool, thanks, bro, you know, or like, you know, like start showing your face around more if you see them, and then they'll start recognizing you, and then you can start like having like little deeper conversations and be like, hey man, like I actually produce too, like would you mind checking my music? You know, don't bug the artist, just be super cool with them, you know. Another cool thing is just just go up to them and be like, hey man, here's a music on a USB. Most of the time they'll use the USB to put their own music on, but they will listen to the music on the actual USB. So, and if they like it, that's cool. I actually have a USB right here that someone gave me, I want to say at Lost Lands, and I use it. The music wasn't that good, no offense to the person if you're watching, but they actually came into one of my Twitch streams and was like, hey man, I gave you a USB, and I was like, dude, I still have that USB, man. Good people, you know. And they sent me music again. I'm actually waiting for them to send me music. If you guys have music, you can email it to me. I will write my email right now. Send me your music. I will listen to it and try to give you some good feedback. And if I don't get to your music, I will eventually get to it. But send me your music. I love to listen to people's music. Okay, let's get back to what we... Dude, yes, free USBs are the best because you can never go wrong with them. Except I am pretty bad when I play shows. I have one USB. One USB. You know how bad that is? If this USB goes bye-bye, I'm fucked. Also, recommend when you play show, wear some earplugs so you're not calcium and you're deaf in one ear. Anyways, let's get back to the song. Dude, yeah, Connor, send me it. I will listen to it. Alright. Let's get back to the song. We're focusing on the build up. I tend to make my build-ups not super crazy. Most people have some insanely good build-ups. On the other hand, I keep it simple. I just keep it simple, man. You know, I like simple things. The weirdo. Anyways, just kick. You know. So it's pretty basic. It's just kick, and they're just all the way. And then when it gets towards the end where my sample's coming in, I start to build it up. You know, like bring in more kicks. So it's like, and then I always have the snare right here. So it's gonna lead up into the faster kick. I'm glad this is the funniest stream on here because, you know, I feel like I'm a pretty funny guy, you know? You know, I'm definitely way funnier than Sudden Death. I'm actually just funnier than everybody. I'm probably like, I can also beat up everybody in the dubstep scene. So don't try me. Actually, I lied. I cannot beat up Uber. That has been proven fact that I cannot beat him up. Except in Smash, because he's dog. If you're watching Uber, I hate you. Because he beats me every time, honestly, actually. You know, I suck at Smash. Actually, no. Sudden Death is the worst person at Smash. I whoop him every time. Anyways, so, like I said, I put a snare here. And then I layer... It's just not layering. I just put a snare every hit, like, boom. Uber does have the reach on me. His arm reach is probably the same length as my whole, just as tall as me. You know, his arm reach is insane. Who would win in a fight, me or OG Nick? Oh, dude, I would win because I just gotta get butt naked and he would not fight me. So I win because I'll just do that to everybody. I'll just get butt naked. No one wants to fight a naked dude. So again, just I always put the hi-hat or the ride. And then, okay, now let's get into the drop. Original. So when I wrote this melody, I remember hearing that Monk's song. I fucking know the song. You know, I forget the song. You know, the one that everyone sings like whatever. Yeah, that song. I remember hearing that, and I was like, "Fuck that! I want people to sing my song." So I tried to write something that would like catch on. So I wrote, hoping that one day I could play this song and people would be like, "Bah, bah, bah." Yeah, but no, never happened. But it's cool. I don't care. The Wonky song. Yes, that is the song. Dope song. Shout out Walter Wild and Monks for that song. Anyways, I try to write something that would stick like that. I want people to sing my song, not his. But yeah, I try to write something like that. And so the key is F, A sharp, G sharp, C sharp, A sharp, F. So if you notice, it is the same key as these. So if I bring this down and play it. Well, actually, no, it's a little different, but actually, it is the same. These are just switched. But yeah, so I wrote that. And how did I make that synth? If you're wondering, it is a square. Square 4. It's actually called Rhythm 4 because that is how you make rhythm, just square 4. And it is a square 4 at 1/4. Oh no, it's at 3/16. Why do you ask? I don't know. But it's also because it is a one shot. If you notice, if I turn the one shot off, it does this weird flow thingy that I don't want. So I make it a one shot so it's only the first hit. So let's go in and take off everything that I wrote. So this is a sub. I originally wrote a sub to go with it, but I don't know what I was thinking because I didn't like it. So I took the sub off. All that's for the sub. Okay. So I'm gonna go through and turn. I'm gonna turn everything off so you can hear what the sound sounds like without everything. I probably could have did it way easier. Dude, that is probably... That is what the sound... That is what it sounds like without any processing. So, you're like, oh, why would you try to make a sound out of that? Good question, I don't know, but I'm just kidding. You know, it can... I don't know, you know? It, like, you just gotta, like... That's why you just mess with stuff, you know? You gotta have fun with it. Just figure out something, you know? I love Subfiltronic. I love Subfiltronic, and I remember I was like, dude, I want to make square fours like him, so I practiced. I put some stereo imaging on it. Can't really tell right now. Phaser. That's for the phaser. Everything's, a lot of it comes with distortion. So distortion, I put it on tube. I always put the damage control down a little, because if I put it too high, when it fully is the sound, it's gonna just sound like fucking crackling, just. And for the second one, it's it's a tube instead of a tape. And then I put 3 as feedback. Can't really tell the difference right now. I'll show you once everything is on again. Let me just turn everything on again so you can hear it again. And then I'll go through it and why. Why is it not playing now? What? Hold up. Okay. Something. I have to go back a little ways now. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. Yeah, it kind of sounds like shit. Oh yeah, the sound was sound source is super quiet because there was no processing on it yet, so that's why I was trying to show that like without the processing, the sound is duty. So with the processing, this is nothing. So with my phasers, you notice, yeah, with a cool thing about Reason is I can reroute anything I want, anything. And I reroute the chorus flanger into, where's it routed into Made. So every time the chorus flanger hits, it is hitting off this wave. That's pretty cool. The cool thing about Reason is you can, I'm not picking my nose, by the way, I'm fixing. The cool thing with it is Reason has teach how to rewire a lot. Rewiring can definitely get tricky. I have messed up a lot of sounds by trying to rewire things that I shouldn't have, and I completely lost the sound, and I did not know how to get it back. So I just said I'm gonna YouTube stuff how to rewire things, and it worked. So if you notice, if I change the delay, it changes the sound. But if I press tab and I go into the back, that changes it also. Same thing. It's pretty cool. Post-processing is king. Yes, it is. But then you also start to get lost. Like I get lost when I go back to my project files and I'm looking at it and I'm like, So let's go into. So the reason why people think that this song and my song that I just showed you guys, Time Loop, are the same is because they technically kind of are the same. You know, I kind of use the same sounds. Also similar flow, kind of, not really, in my opinion, but. I used another yoi because I love using. This yoi is. It's more of like a whomping yoi, but see the thing is, if I go back to my yoi, all I have to do to make it sound like a yoi is get the parameter on digital and turn it up, and now it's a yoi. So if I were to play the song again, can't really tell because I made sure it wasn't super loud in the song. But yeah, that is, it is a yoi that I made just not be a yoi. And everything's all layering because if I take this out, it almost sounds the same, but it's not. The little layer that this is giving it that extra sound. And you hear it mostly in this section. So if I take out that sound, you'll hear it in this section. Kind of sounds like doo-doo. But if I put this layer back in, so that is why. Two layers. What do you use to sidechain? Question. So, what I do to sidechain in Reason, I will show you. So, let's show you. Sub. And this is my kick. So, what I do is I open these up. You see right here where it says dynamics. You grab, you grab this and you drag the left to the left on parallel. Okay, that's all you do right now. So let's do that. Then you go over here up into your mix board. You see where it says master compressor? You turn this on. Okay. Then you go to where your sub is, the big sub. You turn it on. Don't think I'm talking to you like you're retarded. I'm just literally, this is how I'm talking. I don't know. So you turn the sub on. So let me mute the sub, or let me silent solo the sub and the kick. You see this? How it's coming up a little? So it's like yellow, yellow, yellow. And it hits every time the kick's hitting. So if I turn this up, it cuts it super hard, but I didn't want it to be cut like super hard, so I cut it so it's hitting like maybe 2 or 3, and it's cutting. So what I do is I didn't really sidechain the synth. I felt like I didn't need to, but if I were to sidechain the synths, I would do the same processing with the kick too, but I would make a ghost channel. The kicks, find all the sounds into one, and then do exactly what I showed you in that one, and same thing, you know? That was what I would do. I would do this, make it a ghost track, grab all my sounds, so it's Yakz and yoi. So I would route to new output output bus and then rename this as sounds. Okay, so then I would drag this up here. Yeah, this is a kick copy. I'll grab the sounds, put it underneath, same thing with the pale layer, and then go over here, find where the sounds is, turn it on. Solo sounds. Yep. Now it is sidechaining. And it's just because it's a ghost. Yeah. So all together now. Yes, in Ableton, I just use regular compression and just route it or have it sidechain to the kick. I've never used LFO 2. I've heard it is really good. I should probably try to use it, but I stick to pretty basic. I you know, don't fix what's not broken. So you know, I stick to what I know and how I like to do it. So for me, that's just my personal taste. Or I used to, before I didn't even know how to do any of this like how to like sidechain and stuff. I would literally just do volume ducking. I would literally do this. So let's find my sub, and I would come over here. If you can't figure out how to do it, you can always do volume. So I would edit the automation on the sub. My sub. So what I would do is find it. Oh no. Where did it go? Edit automate. Where'd it go? Oh, it's right here. Okay. So what I'll do is I would cut every time the kick hit. So I would listen. I would cut it. So it would do its own sidechaining, but with volume ducking instead of sidechaining. That's another cool thing you could do. They each work, you know, but this is before I figured out how to do that, and I didn't even figure it out. Blank Face actually taught me how to do that. That's how I. What was behind not sidechain the mid bass, and how often do you not sidechain? The not sidechain the mid bass was in this song. I remember was because I was too lazy. On the actual version that got released, I did sidechain it. So, like I said, this is a early project file of it. Not early. This is the original project file when I finished it, and when the final one came out, it is sidechained. That I can definitely say it is. I just didn't do it when I did this part. Let's see. I sidechain all the time now. All the time. Definitely. Dude, yeah, dude. Volume ducking for sidechaining it works, you know? So it's not a bad thing to do, you know? Yeah, volume automation is I feel like volume automation you get it more precise than you would when it comes to actually doing sidechaining, you know? I don't know. Maybe that's just my opinion, but I feel like sometimes it works a little better. Again, let's go back into the flow. So the flow with this, pretty simple, you know, it's just kind of just, and then when it gets into the A section of the part, or the B section of this part, it goes. So what I did is instead of just using a simple 1/4 note, I make it go womp 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 womp. So it's pretty much a 1/8 note. So what I also did is I oscillator aid. So if I go back to the sound and I am oscillator aid. So what I'm doing is I am automating the index. So as you notice, when I go over here to the sound, it's over here. And then when I go into this section, I'm using this part of the square. So I'm using this section of the square for this section. And then when I go into this section, I'm using this part of the square for. Kind of hard to show you what I'm explaining, but so this is the whole square for, and I'm using different sections of the actual sound. If I go through it, so I play. So you hear that that's different sounds that you can make using the square 4, but that's just like certain part frequencies in the square. I only use these two, you know, and then it goes back into it. But and then all I did was layer it. And then for this part, all I did was instead of using a filter, I just used my EQ. And I just drag this all the way forward. So it's pretty much just using it as a filter. Because for some reason, when I tried to put the filter on it, I couldn't route it right, so I had to just basically just using the same patch and just adjusting everything again, like the last one. Yes, exactly like that. Yes. That is why people keep saying that "Fuck Off" is Time Loop VIP, when it kind of is, but it isn't. It is definitely its own song, kind of based around the same sounds. So, you know, I wrote these around the same time. I think I wrote these a couple days after each other. So I was so hyped with the way the time loop came out that I was like, I need to use those synths again. And then I wrote "Fuck Off." So let's get into the B section. Also, great stream, bro. Thanks for all your insight, dude. Thank you, man. I'm glad that you like the stream. You know, this is my first time actually doing a track breakdown, so sorry if I'm not very, you know, like in depth with why and explaining what each sound does. Because honestly, most of my sounds and everything I do are happy accidents. You know, I kind of just come here and I'm like twisting a knob, and then I'm like, oh wait, that sounds super dope, man. Like I'm gonna do that, and then, you know, like you just gotta play around with every sound, you know, and just have fun with it. That's the one thing you guys need to do. Have fun and just, you know, just be yourself and just make dope music. How much time do you spend on a track? And varies. If you guys know my music, sorry, I just got a message on. Sorry, hold up. Get out of here. So if you guys know my music, get out of here. Yeah, my music. Yeah. If you guys know my music, I wrote a song called Yaktivate. I wrote that song in 30 minutes. And that was probably one of my biggest songs around that era of time. Honestly, that song was only big because I faked I went to jail. It was hilarious, but we'll get into that later. We're not even getting to that. I was hanging out with this dude, and he got pulled over, and I was like, "Yo, free Yakz," and everyone thought I went to jail. So I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna play off this. I'm gonna release a song." I released Yaktivate, and everyone was like, "How is Yakz releasing music in jail?" It was funny. Anyways, I wrote that song in 30 minutes. It ended up blowing up, and it was really dope. Now it could take me a whole day. It could take me weeks. It could take me a month to finish the song. But mostly, I'll get the basic idea down of the song that I want, like a day or two. And then from there, I kind of just am going throughout the song, tweaking sounds, EQing sounds, trying to find better layers, or like if I don't like a sound, I'm trying to make a sound that is kind of like that sound, but in the way I envision it or I hear it, like I want it to sound. So it varies on what I'm trying to do. If I'm making a beat, I could probably do that in a day. But for dubstep, it varies. It also comes down to how inspired I am or what I want. Like if I'm making a song for the fans, like I want the fans to love this, then it could vary on how I want. But if I'm making music only for producers to know, it varies. Like I can make music like that's just straight stompy head banging, just pop, 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 for the fans, because that's what most fans want to hear nowadays, is just break your neck, let's kill everybody in the mosh pit style sounds. And I could do that pretty fast. But if I'm making music that I want to impress people and do that, I'm taking my time. Most of the time, I just make music because I like to make music and what I like to hear. So I don't care if other producers don't like my music. I make music for myself, and if my fans love my music, then that is fucking amazing. I am super happy that they like my music, because most of the time I make a song and I'm like, fuck dude, this sounds like shit, because I am comparing it to other people's music. Don't do that, like I said, ever. Let's get into this in my door. I'm scared. Anyways, let's get into the second drop. So what I did is I kept the same little psych out from the first part into the second part. And then what I did is, if I take this out, and that's it. It is literally this. All I added was an extra note. And I have a layer, the Yoi layer, with it too. And I literally just did that for the whole last section of the B part of the drop. I also have the sub following the notes, but for the last note, it hits on F, like one above F2 that I was working in. So if I put this sub up to F2, it was too high and no one can hear it. So I just put it back down to F, just the regular F that it hits, like this one. Because if I go up, it's too high. It didn't sound good. So with the sub, I just followed the same notes that it's going with the sound. Dun, 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 dun. And then, yeah, that's all I did. But for the Yoi is staying the same. It's literally just the whole time. That's the whole song. It's literally the same. The whole song. So everything is based around this sound, my Yakz sound, my square 4, my baby. That's literally the whole song is based around that sound, even when it comes to the melody part. And then for the everything up until the drop is the same, kind of. All I did was add drums. Instead of not having drums, I put drums in the break. And I kept the sub going with it. So it's more of like a break. I have that going for about 16 bars, and then it breaks down and goes back into the break of the actual for the build up, and then goes back into the build up. Oh, actually, yeah. For this part, when I get into the little break, all I added was I added this little sci-fi computer noise. I didn't do nothing to it. It just sounded really cool, and I was like, I need to put that in my song. Also, don't be afraid to use samples. I know people are gonna try to give you shit about it. Don't listen to them. Just, if you feel like you need to use samples, use them. Have fun. They're on Splice for a reason. They're there for us to use them. I use them. I use samples all the time. I definitely don't use samples to make my whole songs samples. No, I don't do that. But if I'm making an intro and I'm like, dude, there's something in there that I can't find or I can't make, I'll use it. Like I couldn't make a sound like this. I'm not good enough like that, So I use samples, Don't be afraid to use samples in your songs. Like I use kick and snare samples all the time, Like I definitely want to learn how to make kicks and snares, so I've made a few kicks and snares. It's definitely a process, and I can't do it in Reason. I can do it in Ableton with using operator and kick too. I can make my own kicks and snares, but they don't come out super good, so I have to do a lot of post processing. But don't be afraid to use samples, man. Just do it. Nike, just do it. Sponsor me. I wish. Anyways, yeah, don't be afraid to use samples. They're there for a reason. I use samples all the time. I don't use them for sounds, but I definitely use samples to fill up empty spaces in songs and stuff. Don't be afraid. I know a lot of people are like, oh, like I'll go on a song and I'll see people like, oh, that's from the sample pack. Like, you want a reward, man? Like, who cares? Like, sounds dope in the song. Let him do what he wants. Oh, also, what I do is in my drops, I put another little white noise. It's the same white noise as this one, but it's just I think I bounced it into place, and it's literally the same white noise, maybe a little different actually. Yeah, it's a little different, but I put a white noise on every part of the drop, and so it goes with the drop. So it's like. I don't know. For me, it just gave it this like extra little tone or like extra little vibe, because if without it, it's like, it just didn't sound good. It sounded like it was missing something. So when I added this little white noise, it filled up a little bit. And again, it's I put it here again. It just fills up sound. Yeah, exactly. It definitely fills it up, So that's another thing you can try to use, like just little filters here and there. And then I use a lot of like little risers. And then for I used an impact right here. As you see, it's from Somatics. And then for the outro, the outro. And that is all I did. I wish I had the project file where I actually did the second drop, but I did not do the second drop on this project file because I wrote this back in the day when no one complained about the same second drop or it being the same drop both times. So I went back into the project file. It's on an old computer, and I ended up writing a new second drop for it. And originally that was going to be the VIP. That didn't happen. I made it that, and then so what I ended up doing was let me show you. I'm actually just gonna play you guys the VIP. Everything's honestly the same. So not much is changed, just a little variations here and there. You know, I have a bunch of songs that I've been working on in Reason, trying to have fun and just mess around with a couple things here and there. But before we end this, are there any other questions that you guys want to know or like want to find out? It could be about branding, it could be about marketing. I'm not really too good at marketing. That's what my manager is for. Shout out to Slayall for being the best management company there is, and everything they've done for. But yeah, if you want to know anything else, feel free to ask. Sound design, I could try to help. You know, very basic. You know, but yeah, if you need any other questions before we end the stream, feel free to ask. My emails. I also put my email in this, so if you have any questions on anything, hit me up. You can message me on Instagram, tweet at me. I'll try to get back to you as best as I can. If I don't get mad. Feel free to call me a bitch on Twitter. I love it. I actually really enjoy when people call me that. I don't get mad, you know? That's one thing that I feel like I have with my fans is they can talk shit to me and I'm just like, hell yeah, you know? Like my friends, I'll be at shows, fans come up to me like, hey, you're a bitch, and I'll be like, you know it, you know, and it's dope. All right, when do you think time to release for newer? You gotta think about people all around the world are gonna, you know, if people are gonna listen to it. So let's see. I'll release whenever I freaking feel like. I don't give a shit when I'll release a song right now if I felt like it, you know. I don't care if I don't, you know, even if it got like 500 plays, you know, I don't care. But for you to release, I would just, you know, test it out. go today or go this week releasing a song at like 2 p.m. and see how many plays it gets on this certain day. Next week, release a song on a different day, same time, and see 2, 3, 4 p.m. Around the time where people are just getting off work, so they're like, oh, there's a new song, let me listen to it on my drive home. Or like someone on the East Coast is already off work and they're like at home chilling, so they on Facebook or on Twitter or something, on SoundCloud or Instagram, whatever, they're looking through their stream and their feed and they're like, oh, hey, this guy released a new song, let me listen to it. So like, test it out, like what day is best. You want a little sound
Make
design?
your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Sound design. All right, let's go. I'll do it real quick. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a combinator. So this is the only thing I have this combinator for, is so when I put all my sounds in, it doesn't look all like shit. So let's go with Mousestorm. So I'm gonna grab Mousestorm. So if you notice, it's already on a sine wave. Let's use square 4. Where's square 4? Right here, square 4. Sounds like doo-doo. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn the decay up and I'm gonna turn the sustain up. I'm gonna turn the attack just like around 32. Doesn't that sound like it's too much? Oh wait, that's because we're on square. We're on saw. Go square. So you hear it's like, that's a basic saw. So what I'm gonna do, so the oscillator motion A is filtering through everything. You're filtering through the square, and then I'm using the index to find a section of the square that I really like. So I like this square right here, So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna this routes it to this. Okay, so if I turn this on, it's a sine, but I'm not gonna use a sine. I'm gonna use a clip. I'm gonna turn it down a little. So if you notice, it sounds like it's filtered out, but that's because it is. If I turn this up, now the sound is there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna sync it to the rate. If I don't sync it, you'll notice it on the side where it says rate, it's like 80, 96. I don't know what that means. So I turn it on sync, so then I know what 1/8, 1/4, all that sounds like. So if I turn the volume up, without it's more of like, it's a longer sound. But if I turn it up, it's like cut. So then what I'll do is I'll go to mod A. I'll sync it again. I'll put this one on 1/8 this time. And I'll grab the index. Find a cool little section that I like. Also, what I can do is I can go to the motion. So we'll start with this, okay? So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and I'm gonna grab some distortion. I'm gonna turn it down and I'm gonna put it on tape. I'm gonna turn the parameter 1 all the way up and I'm gonna go around and see until I like something. It all sounds kind of the same right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the cut. So this is cutting the low, the high, the mid, and the high end out of the sound. I'm gonna drop the low a little. I'm gonna boost the mid a little, and I'm gonna boost the high a little. So I'm gonna go to the body now. I'm gonna turn the resolution or resonance all the way down, and I'm gonna turn the scale all the way up. And then when it comes to auto, I'm gonna put it around. I would say that's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I don't know. I'm gonna go over here to the body type, and I'm gonna put it on D. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab another distortion. Ooh. And I'm gonna put this one on tube. Same thing, all the way up. Same thing with the low. Boost the mid a little and the high. Same thing. But this time I'm gonna put it on E. And then I'm gonna grab another distortion because you know can't get too wrong with distorting. Put it on tape again. Same shit. See, if I put the resonance all the way up, it starts to sound like doo-doo. Okay, after you get your little distortion down, you're like, okay, that's cool. I want something else, you know. You can add some little reverb to it. Remember what I said? You don't want it to go above 20. Turns the high EQ up and the decay down. I'm gonna put this on plate and turn this down. I don't know what LF does. I don't know what LF damp means, but I'm turning it down. And then I turn it down a little. You want just a little bit of it. Then what I'm gonna do, after I get like that cool little sound, I'm gonna put some delay on it. I'm gonna turn it to 1 step. Gives it a cool little tail. Okay, after I do that, I am going to grab a chorus flanger. So there's like a few ways I use chorus flanger. So what I could do is I turn the sync up and I put it on 2/4. And then what I'm gonna do is either I can go put the delay down and turn the feedback up, and it gives it that sound, or I could put the opposite way, and it gives it like more of a like metallic-y, like flanged out. You know, not too much though. So let's go the opposite way. And then what I can do is I can reroute it. So I can reroute the delay time to go through mod A. So it's going through this. So say it's too much. So I turn it down. And it gives it like a little like it's adding to it. So it's like wing. So what I'm gonna do is I can add another chorus flanger. This time do the opposite of what I did the last time. And then this time, instead of routing it to mod A, we're going to route it to mod B. So it's going for this one. Too much, see? And then you kind of just, you can fuck with the modulation amount. So like just say, okay, I'm going to mute, let's grab these drums real fast. And let's. That didn't work. Oh wait, no, it did. Let's just say we're doing. Now it sounds like, you know, it sounds you're like okay, cool, like I'm getting somewhere. All right, so then what I'm gonna do after I do that is I'm going to add some pulverize. It's another kind of distortion, but I'm gonna use a preset. So I use basic pulverization. I turn the volume down and I turn the dry wet just a little bit. Looped. Okay, so after I've added a little bit of distortion, I'm gonna go over here and put a vocoder in it. If you notice, it's not playing. I'm gonna turn it up, turn this up. And you can pick through which one you want. So I'm gonna turn the shift down. I'm gonna turn the attack up and then turn the decay up a little. And then we got like a kind of cool sound going right now. Alright. And then I can also switch through the rates to see which one's cool. So then what I'll do is I'll grab the automation. Kind of a really terrible sound right now, but it'll be greater over time. So what I'll do is I'll go over here and then automate it so it's like, you know, so it's now it has a groove. But then on this note, what we could do is, you know, so it's like boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna do copy paste. But let's keep making this sound. So what I would add after I add some vocoder, the vocoder is sounding a little weird. Okay, that sounds better. Okay, there's a little much reverb, so let's turn the feedback down. Oh, the delay. Then also we can go over here back to our motion and our index and find another, like, you know. We can also go through wavetables. So we'll use this sound for now. Add basics. Now it's like sounds a little better. Okay, so after I add this, I can either add some unisons to it. Sounds like doo-doo. So I'm gonna turn the detune all the way up, keep it at 16, and I'm gonna start turning this up just a tad bit just to see when it sounds cool. I can add a phaser if I really want to. Turn the frequency down, turn the split up, turn the width down, put the rate sync at 2/4, and then but that's if you really want a phased out sound. We don't want that. I don't mess with phasers that much anymore. Okay, so after I do this, what I'll do is I'll put a soft tube saturator on it. This is like I bought this, so or no, this is a free plugin. Kind of like saturates it. Okay, now it's kind of clashing with the sub. You hear it? See this? See this? This is no. You don't want this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna EQ this out. Then what we can do, don't laugh at how I EQ. We can go back and do what I was showing you, how to flush out the high-end harsh parts. Right there. You hear that? It like kind of rings your ear. We're gonna turn that down, shape it out. Same with this part, you know. Don't want that one either. Compressor. Same thing. I want it in between. Turn the attack down. Turn the release up. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw a maximizer on it. I'm gonna soft clip it. I'm gonna turn it down about 8 to 30. Yeah, right there. I'm gonna turn the fucking output gain up to 4.5-ish, 4.7 on both. And then once you get like a cool idea that you want the sound to be, like you're like, okay, cool, this sounds pretty cool, like I want this sound. Then from what you would have to do is you would go through and then start messing with knobs, and like you're like, okay, let's turn the modulation rate up on this. Doesn't sound really good. You can go in the back over here. Doesn't sound good. So everything's just by messing around with knobs, or not messing around with knobs, but like kind of going in and like kind of redoing stuff and seeing what sounds cool. Like what I mostly mess with is almost mess with the index, the motions, like I like to use this wavetable because it's like more bouncy. It's like. So, and then if I really, okay, so like, let's do that. Add. Too high. Yeah, now they sound like shit. Try to make. You can also take this out so that sound. Actually, we're that to be the. Out the have it. So that's what I would do. That's what I do when I come to sound design. And just try to make sounds from. That's what I do, and it's a pretty cool sound. I'm gonna save it as a bomb. Let me show you my favorite sound that I've actually ever made. It is called be really loud, so let me called loud shit because it's fucking way too loud. This is my favorite sound. You'll know this from my song Stomp. R2D2. I'm gonna make a whole song that's just How do I feel about sustains? Oh, I fucking love sustains. Woo! That's not a sustain. Even though people complain that's too screechy, but I don't care. But yeah, this is one of my main sounds, and mostly a lot of my songs. Stomp, Destruction, a lot of my new songs coming out all have. But yeah, that is my favorite sound I've ever made. There you go. So let's get this over with because I'm pretty sure I went way longer than I was supposed to. Also, thanks to everybody that tuned in to watch me and how I made really bad music.